separated by over 10 years, Dan and I had a special bond. He coached me in sports. He taught my 8th grade science class, and was a brother, a mentor, and a friend. In 1986, Dan would move to the AT&T company in Denver, Colorado, where he would stay until 1999. In 1999, he would relocate to Minneapolis, Minnesota with Lucid Technologies. It was an exciting time for Dan. He was promoted to data installation manager, and he was in charge of 5 states. Dan traveled the country and made some great friends during this time. However, in 2003, with a downturn in telecommunications, he'd be faced with layoffs. He told me the worst thing he ever had to do was to fly to his cities to lay off employees. He said his bosses insisted he make phone calls, but Dan flew to tell each and every one of them personally. In 2003, Dan found his way back home to Denver, and at the time of his illness, he was an overnight supervisor at Walmart. Dan was tremendously proud of his work ethic, and he worked his tail off. The doctor would later say she didn't know how he worked an 8-hour shift with as sick as he was. Dan couldn't wait to return to work after he was diagnosed. Although his illness wouldn't allow him to, even up till his last week, he would tell Kat about some new work boots Kat was going to take him to go get. One of the great joys in Dan's life was his Harley and the rides he would take. On one of my visits after his chemo had begun, the urge to ride his bike was so great, he didn't take any of his pain meds for the entire day, and he was in horrible pain. But he went on a ride that day. It would be his last. He just had some errands to run, but it was just an excuse to get out. Dan loved baseball. Anything from spring training trips to Arizona to opening day at Coors Field. And he had some great stories to go along with these. One of my favorites was on March 27, 2001, he went to a spring training game in Mesa, Arizona. He stopped when he got there, and he bought a new ball glove. When he arrived at the stadium, the first thing he caught with that new glove was a foul ball. He was at the All-Star game in 1998 with Mom, and he just had to call me from the stadium so he could rub it in a little. Some of our best times were around baseball, or just playing catch. We played catch on some of my visits, but I never realized how much it meant to him. On a visit in September, Ken had said as he left for work, find some time to play some catch with him today. But not until I prepared for this service, and I really looked at the pictures, did I see how happy it made Denny. Sure, he said he wouldn't be able to lift his arm the next morning, but he was grinning from ear to ear. Dan made lifelong friends. You could always count on him to give you that crooked old grin, and more times than not, it was followed by one of his wisecracks. He was also an incredible storyteller. He loved to talk, and he was known for his honest opinion. There was never any doubt where he stood. He was incredibly proud of his nieces and nephews. Uncle Denny, or UD as he was called, or Uncle Harley, or Uncle Durag. Dan so loved each and every one of them. From the nicknames he gave them, to the crazy gifts he would give them to try to get a rise, he loved watching them grow. He celebrated their successes, and he could always be counted on for a kick in the pants or words of wisdom. But more than anything, Dan was a fighter. He was super competitive, and when he was diagnosed, he told Dad, "I'm going to beat this." Well, in my opinion, he did. He suffered for 8 months, and I never heard him say, "Why me?" He tried so hard not to show the pain he was in, and I can't even imagine what it was like. Occasionally, you might catch him grimacing, but if he caught you looking, he would break the ice with, "So, what's up?" He fought this till the very end, and when it was near, he just wanted to protect us. Denny was private in his faith. When asked recently what he prayed for, he responded and he looked around the room and said, "I pray for these guys and the rest of my family that they will be okay." When asked how he would like to be remembered, he simply said, as a hardworking, nice guy. Well, Den, we couldn't have said it any better. As summer approaches, Den would have been excited about gardening, yard work, barbecue, bike rides, and baseball. So this summer, when you're enjoying any of those, think of Den and that smile. To Mom and Dad, take comfort knowing that he's no longer suffering. He's smiling and he's laughing again. You raised a winner and a fighter. Your faith and strength in this time was truly amazing. In his last hours, you rarely left his side, and he felt so loved. And I can't help to think he felt comfort that only a mother and a father can give their child. Thank you for the model you have given each of us. To Ken, Deb, Jay, David. Ken, there's very few of us that can possibly understand the special bond that the two of you have. Your strength and leadership during this time was incredible. And there's nobody else Den would have trusted to call his pitches or make decisions